In the subtle, often overlooked gestures, there's a quiet yet profound message that speaks volumes about what a person, particularly a woman, is experiencing on the inside. These clues, if recognized, can reveal feelings and desires that remain unspoken, giving us a window into their emotional state. The way a woman behaves when she hasn't been intimate for a while is often more than a mere display of surface-level actions. There is a deeper layer beneath the movements, expressions, and body language, which, when observed carefully, can tell you a great deal about her emotional and psychological landscape. It's often said that actions speak louder than words, and nowhere is this truer than in human interactions. Our bodies carry the weight of our feelings in ways that words simply can't capture. A woman who hasn't had a close, intimate connection with anyone in some time may not say much directly, but her body will unconsciously begin to reveal what she's been holding inside. These signs can range from the way she touches her hair to the way she lingers in conversations. If you know how to read them, you'll see that they carry unspoken messages about desire, longing, and the need for connection. Take, for example, a story I heard from a friend who noticed a shift in the behavior of a colleague. At first, it was subtle, nothing overt, just little things that, upon reflection, spoke volumes. In the middle of what seemed like an ordinary conversation, she would lean a little closer, hold eye contact for longer, or play with her hair more than usual. It wasn't overt flirting. Instead, it was an instinctive action that conveyed a hidden need. This was a woman whose body was beginning to release pent-up energy, seeking an outlet that had been stifled for too long. It wasn't something she consciously intended to do, but the signs were there, woven into her every gesture. Psychological studies have explored how suppressed sexual energy can manifest through body language, particularly in repetitive motions such as hair twirling, lip biting, or maintaining prolonged physical contact. These are all subtle but significant gestures that can easily go unnoticed unless you know what to look for. If a woman has been without intimacy for a while, her body may yearn for that physical release, even if she hasn't explicitly acknowledged it. She might not even realize it herself, but the way she carries herself begins to tell a different story, one that words can't articulate. In fact, body language often reveals more than spoken words ever could. While a woman might express interest or affection verbally, her body will always provide a more accurate reflection of what's going on beneath the surface. If she leans in toward you, makes prolonged eye contact, or repeatedly touches her hair or lips while talking to you, these could be signs that her body is yearning for something more. These actions aren't accidental. They are a reflection of a deeper desire that she might not yet be ready to vocalize. The key is not to rush to conclusions, but to observe carefully. These movements aren't always an invitation for intimacy, but they do reveal a desire for closeness. When she engages in conversation, pay attention to the way she physically positions herself. Does she seem to gravitate toward you without any specific reason? Does she touch her lips or face during the conversation? These small, seemingly insignificant actions can carry great meaning, especially if they occur consistently. It's important to note that while these gestures may suggest desire, they also indicate a yearning for connection, emotional, physical, or both. The next area where you might notice signs of a woman's unspoken needs is in her humor. Humor is an interesting thing, especially when it comes to relationships. A woman who hasn't been intimate for a while might begin to use humor in a more pointed or suggestive way. It's not always an overt attempt to flirt, but rather a subtle attempt to gauge your reactions. She might make a comment that, on the surface, seems innocent, but carries an underlying suggestion. For example, she might say something like, "It's been so long since anything exciting has happened in my life," accompanied by a knowing smile and a lingering glance. These comments are not accidental. She's testing the waters, seeing if you're receptive to a deeper connection. The psychology of humor shows that people often use it as a way to communicate more than just surface-level jokes. It's a tool for navigating difficult or vulnerable topics without directly addressing them. When a woman uses humor to bring up intimate topics or make suggestive comments, it's her way of revealing her deeper feelings and desires without explicitly stating them. The humor serves as both a shield and an invitation, a way to protect herself in case the reaction isn't what she hoped for. but also a way to open the door to something more meaningful if you respond in kind. I remember a conversation with a friend named Mara, who once admitted that humor was her way of testing the waters. She would make jokes about intimacy or relationships, not as a form of casual conversation, but as a way of gauging whether the person she was talking to was open to something more. This is a common tactic among women who are looking for a deeper connection. They don't always want to come out and say what they're feeling. So instead, they use humor to see if the other person is willing to engage in a more personal exchange. Another sign to look out for is a woman's increasing need for physical affection. After a period of time without intimacy, a woman's desire for physical closeness can become more pronounced, even if she doesn't realize it herself. It's not about grand gestures like passionate embraces or overt displays of affection, but rather the small, intimate touches that signal a longing for connection. A touch on the arm, a longer than usual hug, or a brief moment of physical closeness can all indicate that she's seeking intimacy in ways that are more subtle but just as meaningful. These touches aren't necessarily about sex. They are about the need to feel connected, to experience warmth and comfort from another person. The human body craves physical affection, and when it hasn't received it in a while, it begins to seek it out in everyday interactions. A casual touch on the shoulder or a lingering hug can be a sign that she's craving closeness. It's a way for her body to say, "I need to be close to you," not just physically, but emotionally as well. I remember a friend named Laura, who began to show signs of seeking physical closeness after a period of being single. What started as a simple hug or a touch on the arm during a conversation became more frequent and longer in duration. These small gestures weren't overly intimate, but they were clear indicators that she was seeking something more. When a woman has been without physical connection for a while, her body seeks affection in subtle ways, and if you're paying attention, you'll be able to see these signs for what they are. Listening is another crucial skill when it comes to understanding the signs a woman might be sending. When she hasn't been intimate for a while, her conversations can begin to change. What was once casual or superficial becomes deeper and more personal. She may start talking about past relationships, expressing how much she misses the connection she once had, or revealing her vulnerability in ways she hadn't before. These shifts in conversation are not just about talking for the sake of it. They are about her trying to communicate something deeper. For instance, a woman who hasn't been in a relationship for a while might start discussing her past relationships more openly. She might say things like, "I can't even remember what it feels like to be close to someone," or "It's been so long since I felt really connected with someone." These comments might seem innocent, but they carry a deeper meaning. They reveal a longing for intimacy, a desire for connection that has been unmet for some time. When a woman begins to open up in this way, it's a clear sign that she is feeling a void, and she is looking for someone who can fill it. Listening carefully to these conversations is important because it shows that you are paying attention to her emotional needs. When a woman expresses vulnerability in this way, it's an invitation for you to connect with her on a deeper level. It's not about solving her problems or offering advice. It's about being present and acknowledging her feelings. In these moments, she is looking for someone who will truly listen and understand her, not just someone who will give her a quick response. In the world of relationships, jealousy can also reveal deeper emotions that are not always immediately obvious. A woman who hasn't been intimate for a while might experience jealousy in subtle, almost imperceptible ways. It won't be loud or dramatic, but you might notice a slight change in her demeanor when she sees you interact with another woman. This jealousy isn't necessarily possessive or negative. It's a reflection of her desire for more attention and closeness. It's an emotional response to the absence of intimacy, a quiet way of expressing that she wishes she were the one receiving that attention. I remember a time when a friend named Carolina would react subtly whenever I talked about someone I was seeing. She never said anything outright, but I began to notice that her responses would change slightly. She might make a casual remark like, "Well, some people get lucky in love," or she would go quiet for a moment when the topic of my relationship came up. These weren't overtly jealous comments, but they indicated a deeper feeling of longing. She wasn't trying to cause trouble. She was simply reacting to a void in her own life, one that had been left unfilled for a long time. Jealousy, in this context, is often a sign that a woman is feeling insecure about her own place in your life. She might not be comfortable expressing it directly, but her reactions are a subtle way of showing that she desires more attention or intimacy from you. It's important to recognize these signs for what they are, small clues about her deeper feelings and desires. If you notice these subtle shifts in her behavior, it's a sign that she is emotionally invested and seeking a deeper connection. Finally, one of the most powerful signs a woman might give when she's feeling a lack of intimacy is in her increased emotional vulnerability. When intimacy is lacking, a woman may become more emotionally expressive. She might talk about her fears, anxieties, or past experiences more openly. She may also be more inclined to cry or express sadness in moments where she might otherwise have been composed. This emotional vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but rather a reflection of the deep emotional longing she's experiencing. It's her way of showing that she's craving intimacy, not just in a physical sense, but also in an emotional and psychological one. In these moments, it's important to be supportive, understanding, and compassionate. A woman who is showing signs of emotional vulnerability is opening herself up to you, hoping for a deeper connection. She may not be able to articulate it clearly, but her actions and emotions are telling you that she needs more than just a casual relationship. She's looking for someone who can meet her needs, someone who can provide the emotional intimacy she's been missing. In conclusion, the signs that a woman hasn't been intimate for a while are often subtle and hidden in plain sight. They can be found in the way she moves, the way she touches her hair, the way she engages in conversation, and even in the way she uses humor to test the waters. They can be found in the small, intimate gestures that show a desire for closeness, and in the way her emotional vulnerability increases as she seeks a deeper connection. By paying attention to these signs and understanding the underlying emotions behind them, you can gain a better understanding of what a woman is experiencing and what she may need from you. It's important to understand that a woman's emotional needs, particularly when she hasn't been intimate for a while, are layered and nuanced. Each sign, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant, is an invitation to look deeper and understand what she is experiencing beneath the surface. These signs are a call for connection, not just physically but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually as well. Emotional distance and its impact. When a woman hasn't had intimacy for some time, she may feel emotionally distant, either from herself or from others. This emotional distance isn't necessarily a defense mechanism, but rather a way of coping with the absence of that vital connection. Intimacy often provides a sense of closeness and security, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally as well. Without it, a woman might feel a sense of detachment, both from others and from her own feelings. You might notice that, when talking to her, there is a certain level of hesitation or guardedness. She may have difficulty expressing herself or talking about her own emotions freely. This can be her way of protecting herself, especially if past experiences have led her to fear vulnerability. When intimacy is lacking, she may feel insecure, unsure of how to trust again, and reluctant to let anyone in too closely. However, despite the distance, there is often a subconscious longing for connection, and this can come out in subtle ways. You may notice that when the conversation turns to matters of the heart or intimacy, she becomes more introspective or hesitant. There might be a moment of silence where her mind drifts, or a quiet sigh that suggests a deep, unspoken yearning. It's a sign that, although she might be putting up emotional walls, there is still a desire to break through them. She is simply unsure how to do so. The importance of validation. Validation plays a significant role in how a woman processes her feelings when she hasn't experienced intimacy for a while. Women, like all people, need to feel seen and understood. The absence of intimacy can often lead to feelings of inadequacy or being overlooked, not just in a physical sense, but emotionally and psychologically as well. Without the closeness of a partner, a woman may feel neglected, as though her needs are not being met or understood by those around her. This feeling can lead to self-doubt and a lack of self-worth. When you validate her feelings, whether through active listening, offering support, or simply acknowledging her emotional experiences, you provide a crucial step toward healing that emotional gap. It shows her that she is valued for more than just her physical appearance or her role in a relationship. It reassures her that her emotional needs matter just as much, and that she is worthy of the intimacy and connection she craves. Validation doesn't need to come in the form of grand gestures. Sometimes, the smallest act can make the most profound difference. A genuine compliment, a word of encouragement, or simply being present and attentive when she speaks can go a long way. These small moments of acknowledgement can ease the emotional distance and help her feel more comfortable in opening up to you. Subtle signs of seeking attention. While some women may overtly express their desire for intimacy, others might not be as direct. Instead, they may engage in more subtle forms of seeking attention or affection. You might notice that she subtly finds ways to draw you into her orbit, whether through casual physical touches, finding reasons to spend time with you, or engaging in deep conversations about relationships, emotions, or personal struggles. Her body language will often reveal that she is craving more attention and affection than what she may outwardly admit. You might observe her constantly finding reasons to be near you, sitting a little too close, or lingering just a bit longer when a conversation is ending. She may engage in playful banter, teasing you in a way that might hint at deeper feelings, or she might find ways to compliment you on qualities that go beyond surface-level attributes. These gestures are often meant to create a deeper bond, even if they are done with a lighthearted or playful demeanor. While she may not openly say that she's looking for intimacy, these actions can often be a sign that she is seeking connection on a deeper level. What she's really looking for is someone who can engage with her emotionally, someone who can see past the small talk and offer the emotional closeness she's been missing. If you're paying attention, these seemingly minor gestures are often indicators of her yearning for intimacy in a more profound way. Shared vulnerability. A key component of intimacy is shared vulnerability. And when a woman hasn't experienced intimacy for a while, she may begin to open up in ways that invite you to connect with her on a deeper emotional level. If she begins to share personal stories, past experiences, or her innermost thoughts, it's a sign that she is reaching out for that emotional connection. These moments of vulnerability can be both difficult and powerful because they require trust. When a woman begins to share her vulnerability, it's not just about seeking sympathy or validation, but about letting someone into the core of her being. She is trying to bridge the gap between herself and another person, hoping that her emotional honesty will be met with understanding. This is a critical moment, as it reflects her desire for a deeper level of intimacy, not just in the physical sense, but in a way that bonds you emotionally. Listening attentively and responding empathetically to her vulnerable moments can foster a deeper connection. By validating her feelings, offering support, and engaging with her on a deeper emotional level, you show her that intimacy isn't just about physical closeness, but also about connecting heart to heart. Nonverbal communication as a signal of need. In the absence of intimacy, a woman's nonverbal communication becomes even more significant. Without physical intimacy, she might lean on other forms of connection, eye contact, tone of voice, and body posture, to express what words cannot say. She may unconsciously position herself in ways that suggest openness and receptiveness, or she may withdraw, creating physical distance as a form of self-protection. You might notice that her gestures become more intentional, touching her neck, her lips, or her face in ways that suggest she is aware of her body's need for attention. These signs are often subconscious, but they offer insights into her emotional and physical desires. Pay attention to the way she responds to physical proximity or touch. Does she lean in? Or does she pull away? Is she hesitant? Or does she welcome the closeness? By observing her nonverbal cues, you can gain a deeper understanding of her emotional needs. A woman who hasn't been intimate for a while may feel conflicted about allowing someone to get too close, yet she will also seek that closeness. She may feel vulnerable, but she may also long for the comfort and security that intimacy brings. Understanding these cues can help you navigate the delicate balance between giving her space and providing the connection she deeply craves. Understanding emotional needs and growth. When intimacy has been absent for a while, a woman might undergo significant emotional growth. She may begin to reflect on her own desires, needs, and the kind of connection she is seeking. This period of emotional introspection often leads to a deeper understanding of herself and what she truly wants from a relationship. It can be an awakening, realization that her emotional and physical needs deserve to be met in a meaningful way. However, this emotional growth often comes with a sense of longing. As she evolves and recognizes her desire for connection, she may also feel a sense of loss or frustration due to the absence of intimacy in her life. These emotions can manifest in both overt and subtle ways, but they are always a sign that she is open to deeper connections and intimacy. Supporting her through this journey of self-discovery and emotional growth can be a powerful way to bond with her. When you offer understanding and compassion during this time, you create the opportunity for both emotional and physical intimacy to blossom. The key is not to rush or force the process, but to allow the relationship to evolve naturally, based on mutual respect, trust, and emotional connection. In summary, understanding the signs that a woman hasn't been intimate for a while requires sensitivity and awareness. The small gestures, changes in behavior, and moments of vulnerability are all part of the intricate dance of human connection. By observing these subtle clues, offering validation, and being emotionally present, you can create an environment in which intimacy, both physical and emotional, can flourish. The signs are there, waiting to be recognized, offering an opportunity for deeper connection and growth in the relationship. Building trust through patience and understanding. When a woman hasn't experienced intimacy for a while, building trust becomes one of the most important components in reestablishing a connection. Trust is the foundation on which emotional and physical intimacy can be rebuilt. However, it's important to understand that trust doesn't happen overnight, especially when emotional wounds or past experiences may have left her feeling vulnerable or guarded. Patience is key. If she's hesitant or slow to open up, it's essential not to rush the process. She may need time to feel safe and secure enough to let her guard down. This is where understanding and compassion come into play. If she is met with patience, consistency, and a genuine willingness to be present, it creates an environment where she can begin to trust again, both with her emotions and eventually with her body. This trust-building phase can manifest in different ways, such as her allowing herself to be more vulnerable in conversations, sharing deeper aspects of herself, or seeking your emotional support during difficult times. These moments can serve as stepping stones toward greater intimacy, where the focus is on understanding and connecting emotionally before moving toward a more physical closeness. How emotional closeness enhances physical intimacy. When emotional intimacy is nurtured and trust is established, physical intimacy often follows in a more natural and fulfilling way. For many women, emotional closeness is just as important, if not more so, than physical connection. It's the emotional bond that strengthens the desire for physical intimacy, making it more meaningful and connected. If a woman has been without intimacy for a while, she may not feel the same desire for physical closeness that she did earlier in a relationship. This is particularly true if her emotional needs haven't been fully met. But as emotional intimacy grows, her desire for physical connection will likely follow suit. The two types of intimacy are often interdependent. Emotional intimacy opens the door for physical closeness, and physical intimacy can strengthen emotional bonds. You might notice that when she starts to feel emotionally safe and valued, her body language will change as well. Her gestures may become softer, her touch more frequent, or she may initiate closeness in subtle ways, like brushing her hand against yours or resting her head on your shoulder. These small but significant actions signal that she is beginning to feel ready to take the next step toward physical intimacy, not just out of physical desire, but because she feels emotionally connected and secure. Reaffirming commitment and rebuilding confidence. After a period of emotional distance, reaffirming your commitment to her can be an incredibly powerful step in rebuilding intimacy. A woman who has not been intimate for a while may feel insecure or question whether she is still desirable or worthy of a deep connection. Providing consistent emotional reassurance can go a long way in restoring her confidence and making her feel seen. Take the time to remind her of her value, not just in terms of physical appearance, but for who she is as a person. Compliment her intelligence, strength, kindness, and other qualities that go beyond the physical. Doing so helps her feel secure in the relationship, reinforcing that intimacy is not just about the physical act, but about a mutual, respectful, and loving connection. Sometimes, reaffirming commitment doesn't have to be through words alone. Small acts of kindness, such as thoughtful gestures, planning quality time together, or just listening without judgment, can serve as powerful reaffirmations. These actions show her that she is not only loved but cherished. They reinforce that emotional closeness is the foundation on which physical intimacy can once again be built. How past experiences may shape her current needs. Understanding a woman's emotional needs when intimacy has been absent for a while requires acknowledging that her past experiences may deeply shape her present desires and fears. Previous relationships, past trauma, or even societal pressures may influence how she perceives intimacy. If she has experienced rejection, hurt, or betrayal in the past, she may be understandably cautious and hesitant about opening up emotionally or physically again. For some, intimacy is tied to deep emotional vulnerability, and if they've been hurt in the past, they might not feel ready to let anyone get close. On the other hand, some women may have learned to disconnect from their emotions as a coping mechanism to protect themselves. In both cases, patience and understanding become vital tools in providing a safe space for healing and growth. It's important to listen carefully when she talks about her past experiences, even if she isn't speaking directly about her struggles with intimacy. If you can show empathy and understanding, rather than judgment or impatience, it can help her heal and feel more confident in reconnecting with intimacy, both emotionally and physically. The role of communication in rekindling intimacy. Clear and open communication is crucial when trying to rekindle intimacy after a long period of emotional distance. A woman who has been without intimacy might feel anxious, unsure, or even frustrated by the lack of connection. Sometimes, she may not have the words to express what she is feeling or what she needs, and in these moments, it's your responsibility to create a space where communication feels safe and welcomed. Ask open-ended questions that invite her to share her thoughts and feelings without pressure. For example, how do you feel about the way things are between us? Or is there anything you'd like us to do differently to feel closer? Encourage her to speak freely and always listen with empathy and without judgment. By validating her feelings and needs, you can begin the process of rebuilding intimacy through honest and open dialogue. Remember, communication isn't just about talking. It's also about listening. Be attentive to the subtle signals she gives, such as changes in her mood, tone, or body language. These nonverbal cues often provide insight into what she is experiencing emotionally and can help you respond more effectively to her needs. Conclusion: creating a balanced, intimate connection. Rebuilding intimacy with a woman who hasn't been emotionally or physically intimate for a while requires a combination of patience, empathy, communication, and trust. As you navigate this delicate process, remember that the journey isn't about rushing or forcing connection, but about understanding, supporting, and creating a safe space where both emotional and physical intimacy can grow naturally. By being attuned to the subtle signs she may display, offering consistent emotional validation, and communicating openly and lovingly, you create an environment where intimacy can flourish. This requires an understanding that intimacy is more than just a physical act. It is an ongoing process of emotional closeness, vulnerability, and trust. When both partners take the time to nurture and support each other, intimacy can deepen in ways that enhance the connection on every level. Through shared vulnerability, understanding, and affection, you can rekindle intimacy, not just in a physical sense, but in a way that truly brings both of you closer together, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Overcoming challenges and setbacks. Despite all efforts to rebuild intimacy, setbacks may occur. It's natural for challenges to arise, especially when emotional or physical distance has been present for a long time. These setbacks may come in the form of miscommunications, moments of frustration, or even fears about getting hurt again. It's important to approach these challenges with the understanding that intimacy is not a linear process. It can involve progress, stagnation, and sometimes even regression. When setbacks happen, it's essential to approach them with compassion and patience, rather than frustration or disappointment. Reaffirming your commitment to her and the relationship, even during difficult times, helps to ensure that both of you remain emotionally connected and that the efforts to rebuild intimacy are still valued. It may also be helpful to revisit the foundational aspects of your relationship, the reasons you are both committed to each other, the mutual respect you share, and the emotional safety you are working to build together. Sometimes, reminding each other of these core values can provide the reassurance needed to continue moving forward. If the emotional barriers feel insurmountable, seeking professional guidance, such as couples therapy, can be a valuable tool. A therapist can help both partners explore deeper emotional issues, break through communication barriers, and offer strategies to rebuild trust and intimacy in a healthy, constructive way. The role of patience in sustaining intimacy. As you continue to nurture intimacy, it's important to maintain patience. Intimacy doesn't always develop at the pace we expect, and it may require ongoing effort from both parties. As you move forward, remember that intimacy isn't about achieving a specific goal or outcome. It's about creating an enduring connection that can withstand challenges. Patience isn't just about waiting for things to get back to normal. It's about accepting the process and understanding that building intimacy is an evolving journey. It involves acknowledging that both of you are continuously learning and growing within the relationship. Intimacy may ebb and flow, but by staying committed to each other and continuing to invest in the relationship, it will gradually deepen. Physical intimacy as a reflection of emotional growth. As emotional intimacy deepens, physical intimacy will often naturally follow. However, it's important to note that the journey to physical intimacy can be just as fulfilling as the act itself. Sometimes, it's not about the physical connection but the emotional intimacy that surrounds it. The small moments of closeness, like holding hands, cuddling, or simply being present in each other's company, are equally valuable. Physical intimacy is often a reflection of how well both partners understand and support each other. It's not merely about meeting a physical need. It's a form of communication that requires mutual respect, trust, and care. By recognizing that intimacy in all its forms, emotional, physical, mental, is a reflection of the bond between you both, you can approach the process with a deeper sense of purpose and understanding. Celebrating milestones in the journey. As you rebuild intimacy, it's important to celebrate the small milestones along the way. Whether it's sharing a heartfelt conversation, experiencing a moment of physical closeness, or simply feeling a renewed sense of connection, acknowledging these moments strengthens the bond between you. These milestones are reminders that intimacy is not just about grand gestures, but about everyday moments of affection, understanding, and emotional support. Celebrating these milestones doesn't mean rushing the process or forcing progress. It's about recognizing and honoring the efforts both of you are putting into rebuilding the relationship. By focusing on the positive aspects of your progress, you can create a sense of gratitude and appreciation for each other, which only enhances the intimacy between you. Conclusion: intimacy as a continuous journey. Rebuilding intimacy with a woman who hasn't been emotionally or physically intimate for a while is a multifaceted journey. It requires patience, empathy, understanding, and consistent effort from both partners. The road may not always be easy, but the rewards, deeper connection, stronger trust, and greater fulfillment are worth the effort. By nurturing both emotional and physical closeness, being attuned to each other's needs, and communicating openly, you create a relationship in which intimacy can flourish. Through small gestures, heartfelt conversations, and shared vulnerability, you are continually strengthening the bond that allows intimacy to grow. Ultimately, intimacy is a continuous journey of growth, understanding, and connection. It requires time, effort, and the willingness to stay committed to each other. But as you both work together to rebuild intimacy, you'll find that the process itself becomes a source of connection and fulfillment that brings you closer, not just in moments of physical closeness, but in every aspect of your relationship, navigating relapses and moments of doubt. Along the way, there will likely be times when doubts creep in, and you may question whether the effort you're investing in rebuilding intimacy is truly working. It's important to acknowledge these feelings, but not to allow them to derail your progress. Relapses, whether they are emotional, physical, or situational, can be an inevitable part of the process. These moments of doubt or setbacks are not signs of failure, but rather opportunities for growth and deeper understanding of the dynamics of your relationship. When you encounter these challenges, it's crucial to stay open with each other about your concerns. Avoiding or suppressing these feelings will only lead to further distance. A productive conversation can allow both partners to express their fears, frustrations, or insecurities in a safe space. Acknowledge the emotional weight of these setbacks, but also affirm your commitment to the process. Sometimes, relapses help both partners realize what additional support is needed and how to adjust their approach to intimacy. These challenges, while difficult, can deepen your connection when handled with care. By leaning into these moments rather than avoiding them, you give each other the chance to grow even stronger as a couple. It's during these times that you may find new opportunities for emotional bonding and shared understanding, and by overcoming them together, you reinforce the strength of your partnership, incorporating playfulness and fun into the relationship. As you work through rebuilding intimacy, don't underestimate the power of lightheartedness and fun. Playfulness, humor, and shared experiences can be powerful tools in breaking down emotional walls and increasing comfort levels. While deep emotional connection is essential, so is the ability to laugh, be spontaneous, and enjoy each other's company without pressure. Incorporating moments of joy into your relationship allows for a balance between serious emotional work and lighthearted fun. It can break the tension and help to reestablish a natural rhythm in the relationship. Simple activities, like going on a new adventure together, cooking dinner as a team, or engaging in a shared hobby, can create spaces where intimacy feels more natural and effortless. These moments can remind both partners that they not only care for each other deeply, but they also genuinely enjoy one another's company. By infusing fun into the relationship, you create a space for spontaneous connection, which can be just as impactful as deeper conversations. Playfulness nurtures trust and allows both partners to feel more comfortable, reducing the pressure of rebuilding intimacy. As the relationship deepens emotionally, ensuring that you continue to share light, joyful moments together can help maintain the sense of connection. Reaffirming emotional and physical boundaries. An essential aspect of rebuilding intimacy is recognizing and respecting each other's boundaries. Over time, emotional or physical boundaries may shift as trust and comfort are rebuilt. It's crucial to engage in ongoing conversations about these boundaries to ensure that both partners feel heard, respected, and safe. For example, what felt comfortable in the past may not be the case now, especially after a period of emotional distance. Being clear about what each of you needs and are comfortable with is vital to navigating intimacy. These conversations should be ongoing, as boundaries can evolve, and it's important to continually check in with each other to ensure that neither partner feels pressured or overwhelmed. Boundaries are not limitations. They are a form of mutual respect. By acknowledging and honoring each other's needs, you both contribute to an environment where intimacy can flourish. Reaffirming boundaries also helps reduce the fear of overstepping or misreading each other's signals, ultimately creating a deeper sense of safety and trust within the relationship. Fostering long-term intimacy. While rebuilding intimacy is often a focus of those looking to repair a relationship, it's just as crucial to continue cultivating intimacy over time. The work doesn't end once the initial challenges are overcome. Intimacy is not a destination, but a continuous process that requires ongoing attention, vulnerability, and effort. It evolves and grows as both partners change and evolve. To foster long-term intimacy, it's important to prioritize consistent communication, shared emotional experiences, and mutual care. Avoid falling into complacency. Instead, celebrate the progress you've made and acknowledge that building intimacy is a lifelong endeavor. Regularly check in with each other about how you're feeling emotionally and physically within the relationship. Keep the door open for new ways to express love and care, and remain flexible in your approach to nurturing intimacy. As you and your partner continue to navigate life's ups and downs, make room for moments of shared vulnerability, laughter, and adventure. Remember that intimacy isn't just about physical closeness. It's about being emotionally and mentally attuned to each other, always striving to connect on deeper levels. Final thoughts. The rewards of rebuilding intimacy. Rebuilding intimacy with a partner who has been emotionally or physically distant takes effort, but the rewards are profound. The process itself fosters growth, not just for the relationship, but for each individual. It requires patience, empathy, communication, and a shared commitment to understanding and supporting one another. When intimacy is rebuilt with care, it transforms the relationship, bringing both partners closer together in ways that weren't possible before. The bond that forms from working through difficulties and nurturing emotional and physical closeness is often stronger than one that never faced those challenges. Ultimately, intimacy is a powerful force that deepens your connection, builds trust, and allows for an enduring, fulfilling relationship. It may take time, but the commitment to the process is an investment in the strength, longevity, and happiness of your partnership.